Watermelon? Hey, piggy. You know, this place is a pigsty. Clean it up.
This is mildly venomous.
Why would you tell me that after you
He's
had
not
it?
going to bite you.
No,
if he does, it's less than a bee sting, I promise.
Well, and I don't respond well to bees. That's another episode. Spiders and snakes. Snakes, part 2 on the Jungle Room. Take this venomous creature. Welcome to the Jungle Room. I'm Michael Del Giorno. Most of you know me from radio, and now I hope from the Jungle Room. We're joined by my team of experts, Chris Jones and Mike Wedekin, and hope you enjoyed spiders last week. Today we move on to part 2, snakes. Now, this whole journey began with me discovering exotic pets as family members, and I never thought I would own a lizard, chameleon, veiled to be exact, but I also own a snake, a ball python, Dexter, and he's a big part of my family. But what you learn today is maybe not all snakes are for you, or maybe it's important that you grow up with your snake, as I think you're going to find out when I meet what Dexter's going to look like down the road. So anyway, you saw in the opening shot, very mildly venomous, we'll add, and you would have to let her, what, chew on you for...
Yeah, for a long time.
A long time. But that's kind of how we're going to gradually go today. So we'll start small and we'll get big. And as always, remember, as you see them, may not be as they're going to be full grown. And length of life and care and habitat makes a huge difference. So let's start over with this little guy, Pink, to make me feel more comfortable.
Yes.
But name, scientific name, and where they're found in the wild.
So this is a western hognose. They're found in the middle part of the United States. Heterodontonyxus.
Oh, don't look at me.
Okay. Is its scientific name. I'm used to its cousin, the eastern hognose, one of my favorite snakes, gets larger, and that's Heterodont plethyrinos, which is even harder to pronounce. But
this is a color variation of a western hognose, right?
It is. So this is not what you would find in the wild. What you find in the wild would be grays, tans, and browns. This is a snow, and this is one of the newer morphs that are out now. And just like
there's a good reason you wouldn't find it in the wild. It'd be very easy to spot.
Get eaten.
Get eaten very
it's
fast.
the same reason you don't find albinos very often in the wild, or even piebalgs.
Right.
There's just too much of a calling card. Hey, I'm over here.
Eat me.
And something comes in and snags it up. Super interesting species. Like I told you in the intro, it's not going to bite you. They have a...
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, now you tell me.
I always say, if I get mad enough, I'll bite you.
That's true.
How big do they get full grown?
So this is a male, so full grown, about 18 inches. Females, 24.
Can I make an observation?
Plus.
Smaller, probably easier to care for in that sense, and a very unsnake-like face. It really is.
So that nose has a function. These guys are fossorial, which means they spend most of the time at or below the ground, and their primary diet in the wild is toads. So they're using that to help themselves unearth toads that will bury themselves during the day. Toads, for the most part, are nocturnal. These guys are diurnal, meaning they're active in the daytime. And so they will use their tongue and follow the toad's trail to where he's buried himself.
They sleep attack.
They'll dig them up and eat them.
Sleep attack.
And that kind of doubles back to the how we're talking about the rear-fanged. Toads, when they get attacked by something like this, they tend to swell up and blow themselves up to make themselves more difficult to swallow. Right. And those are designed to pop said
deflate them. Wow.
Right.
I thought of everything.
Toad deflators.
All right, and then lifespan.
Like most colubrids, these guys can go over 20 years old.
Wow.
And we'll get into some of the other stuff, but really how you keep them is going to determine how you keep them, how much you feed them, how often you feed them is going to determine their lifespan.
Just like most snakes in captivity, they're going to eat primarily rodents. We're not going to feed them toads. But one thing about western hognose in particular is that because their digestive system is more adept to eating toads, you need to try to focus on feeding them something that's primarily hairless as long as you can. You can get larger prey items that don't have the typical amount of fur that a
It'll give it trouble.
Right. But yeah, they're going to eat small rodents.
And then what kind of a habitat?
For one like this, I mean, it can be you know, a lot of people would keep it in a shoebox like what we would, and that's a whole different, you know, conversation. But for the average keeper, like my daughter, she's got one of these, and she's got it right now in a 10-gallon enclosure. Has a heat pad coming from the, you know, the bottom, bedding, high cave, water bowl, and a lid that's going to help protect the humidity and not let the tank be so vulnerable to the temperatures in our homes.
Well, yeah, the temperatures, and don't forget what an air conditioner in your home does. It dehumidifies your home. So you don't want that to escape and dehumidify the tank. And also, they control their own temperature, right? So they have to have a hot place, and they can use the tool and go to a cooler area
you
or
always
water.
give them a gradient, and so the heat source is going to be on one side of the enclosure and not on the other. You don't put it in the middle. You don't put it on, you know, the back. Always on one side, allowing them to warm up to temperature and then move away once it's ready to.
Now, we have mice, we have hamsters, we have a lot of these different pets that we love. So we're a family for Dexter. It was very important that we didn't feed him live mice.
Right.
People need to know that you can buy them at every pet store. They're frozen. You thaw them out, get them to a certain temperature, and they learn to eat those. If that troubles you, live feeding, there are ways around that.
Another thing to note with these guys is because they're fossorial, they like to burrow a lot. So whatever substrate you're using, with these guys, you don't want to use a reptile carpet. You want to use a substrate probably about 2 to 3 inches thick at this size, and even up to 4 to 5 inches for an adult, to where they can really burrow down underneath of it. I like coconut coir. There's a bunch of different options you have out there, aspen bedding and sani chips and some other stuff that work well. They're not big on a lot of humidity like most snakes, so having a lower humidity in a home works well, especially with your air conditioning. Just keep a water bowl on one side of the cage to where they can get to that water bowl. Other than that, if the water bowl spills, clear that area out so it's not building moisture up in the tank.
Is it a good beginner snake?
It is a good beginner snake. It's fairly forgiving. It's also not going to take up a whole lot of room, both as a young one like this, even as an adult. It's not necessary to have it a big giant enclosure that takes up half your living.
And as with all our snakes,
40-gallon breeder for an adult, a female, 20-gallon long for an adult male.
and as we'll remind people with every species that we discover, always a reputable breeder.
Yeah, you would have to find a specialty reptile store to find a Western hognose available. There are several online platforms that have them available for private breeders like myself, to where we can go and we can list our inventory and you can have it shipped overnight to your house.
Go west, young man. We've got more snakes to see.
All right, we're gonna get a little bit bigger now. You ready?
Yeah, sorta.
So here we've
Now,
got.
see,
Yeah. This is
little guy.
in the progression in helping people overcome their fear of snakes. This is natural in the progression.
why does he look wet?
He's smooth scaled. He's not keel scaled like the last species. So this is Shelly. She is 5 years old. She's a Kenyan sand boa, and she's on the small side for adult females. They can get another third of this size and a little bit thicker. Really cool species. Also fossorial like the last species we saw, but even more so. Like we said, it's a Kenyan sand boa, so they come from Kenya, Africa. There are multiple different species of sand boas. And I'm going to let Mike get into some of the cool stuff about the morphology of these
Do they live in the
guys.
sand, or?
Primarily, yes, and it's not necessarily a sand like what we would think.
Oh, okay.
It's a sandy soil.
Yeah, the thought of being on a beach and
Right.
that
right.
thing starts snapping at me.
Yeah, and if you look, and if the camera can get in here and look, the eyes are more situated towards the top of the head. So they are an ambush predator with their prey. They'll hide their bodies beneath the surface and just let the tops of their eyes poke out, and so where they're ready to strike.
That must be quite a moment.
Right, and because they
Like a lawyer.
and because they live beneath the surface a little bit, if you notice too,
Do I have to?
yes.
What am I
It
feeling?
goes
You're gonna
smooth
hold
and
this.
goes down.
Oh,
has
it gets
a little bit
rougher.
More, right.
Yeah.
A little bit more texture. That helps them propel themselves just a little bit. There's
How big
traction.
will she get?
The typical Kenyan sand boa, kind of like the Western hognose, is going to be about 24 inches long. Maybe a little bit thicker in girth than what it is now. The males are going to be more like 15 to 18 inches.
So it's a smaller snake.
Yeah.
Right. Again, just like the ones we had before, these are ones that Make a pretty decent first choice for a snake. A little bit more shy. You're not going to see it as often as the snake we had before, the Western hognose. But they don't take up a lot of room, and they're fairly mom and dad friendly.
Cage setup?
As a baby, 10 gallon or so with a heat pad, suitable bedding, which probably shouldn't be sand. Usually prepared substrate is
We
a
use
little bit better.
sandy chip. It's a type of actually compressed, almost like a cardboard type of a.
Right.
And do enough to where they can burrow in.
Right.
Now, do they want a little cave like Dexter does? Not necessarily, because they'll...
Always add one, but they're not always going to use it. They're gonna, if you put it directly over the heat source, because they stay beneath the surface a lot anyway, they may be underneath it, but they may be, 6 inches over and beneath the surface.
Little water bowl too?
Right, right. Water bowl, it doesn't have to be extremely full to where it overflows if they were to get in it.
You need a heat lamp only, right?
No, it's better as a heat pad.
Okay.
Something that's underneath, either a heat pad or like a heat tape, depending on the setup. Because they're a boa, they are a live bearer. Typical litter size is, I guess it depends on the size of the female.
Yeah, they can be
10,
3 to 10. Okay. Depending on the size
3
of
to
the
10
animal.
inches?
No, 3 to 10 babies.
Oh, 3 to 10 babies.
Born maybe larger. We have a friend who specializes in these guys, and he's got video that went viral of a birth of these, and it's pretty amazing to see. We'll add that in.
Yeah.
Like we said, great beginner snake. They are, when feeding, extremely fast. They're a slow-moving snake for the most part, which makes them great for a beginner snake and great for somebody who's got a fear of snakes overcoming them. But if you're feeding, you definitely want to use tongs, and you definitely want to get prepared because
it's a quick strike.
It's going to strike so fast it will make you jump no matter what. It does.
Dexter, my ball python's a pretty good striker too, but you're saying more violent than that?
About 20 times faster.
Oh wow! Definitely want to use this
super just. Boom.
Meatball tongs.
Super fast.
Color variations? Not many.
There
right?
there are a lot
really?
of color variations. They're really picking up traction in the hobby right now with the different morphs that are available. Anywhere between albinos and snows, and then you get into all the paints, and there's a lot of variations. And so if you're a collector of morphs, then there's a lot to choose from.
All right, let me hold the boa, especially while she's small. Let me see you. You're a quick striker, I hear, huh? Well, that's how I am. You ought to see me at Steak and Shake. Keep your hands and feet away from my mouth. Hey, it looks like she's trying to do something.
She might be.
Okay, we're going to give her
trying to
back. I don't. Somebody take her. I don't know what, but it was. She did. She heard Steak and Shake, and she was ready to munch. All right, so that is the
Kenyan Sambo.
Kenyan Samboa. All right. This is the pine snake. I'm very familiar with it. He would be the most gorgeous belt. I don't want him to know that.
This is actually an Ocean County northern pine, which is a county in New Jersey, actually the county that I grew up in, catching these guys. And in the hobby,
Why
they
are you looking
sell
at me?
by.
You're not getting ready to strike me, are you?
He might.
Is he seriously?
They could be. They're selling.
Why is he doing that?
He's tasting you. So we go by location. When there's not any
Look at
real
the tattoos.
morphs
Tattoos.
for these guys. But this
There's
is
subtle differences with locale.
there are.
There's a lot of snakes that their pattern or the vibrancy of their color may look different 10 miles down the road than it does right.
This is the most desirable with the black and white for the northern pines.
See, I think it makes him scarier.
The colors,
Yeah, for some reason. I don't
the
know.
big eyes.
He looks like he wants to hurt me.
He.
What does he eat?
they're-
Besides Italians.
For the most part, they eat rodents.
Rodents?
Italians.
Italian. Do you ever do mouse meatballs for him? A little brogioli?
And so yeah, for the most part, they're eating rodents in the wild. Adults will eat squirrels, gray squirrels, small rabbits. As babies, they're eating mice, and then coming up from there, mice, chipmunks, shrews, stuff like that. Any kind of small rodent they can grab.
And these get pretty good size.
This is the second largest snake in New Jersey, and
How old is he right now?
He's about a year and a half.
That's it?
That's it.
So how big is he going to get?
About 8 feet long.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I do not want to.
Almost as big around as say like a soda can or something like that.
Yeah, they
Close to
get
it.
pretty thick.
Oh, we're not doing a reunion show.
They'll be
It's
about that
impressive.
big, full grown, about that big around.
If I saw that in the wild,
And what's interesting
you
about
would need
They're
you would need a
beautiful.
bidet.
Right.
not as
Wow.
much as maybe the bull snake, but these can hiss pretty loudly.
Extremely loudly.
And it's impressive to hear. Now, when they're captive like this, it's difficult to get one to do.
Why are they hissing?
It's just a show.
Just a defense.
yeah. They get
Now,
away
what
from
eats
me.
them?
Hawks.
Hawks.
Red-tailed hawks are probably their foremost predator. When they're young, anything, large fish, turtles, even shrews that they may eat as an adult will eat a baby snake because they're vicious little creatures.
Habitat?
Okay, so these guys need something a little bit larger.
Yes.
They're diurnal
8
snakes.
feet. They're going to need a master bedroom.
And they're very active. So I would say for a small snake this size, a minimum of maybe 40-gallon tank. As an adult, 125. If we're talking aquarium size, I have a friend of mine who breeds these, and he uses the giant containers that you put Christmas trees in, like fake Christmas trees that you would put away.
I'd love to get that built in the
And,
attic.
and let's explain that a little bit more. A lot of people keep snakes like this as a part of a larger collection.
Yes.
And so you can't keep a full collection in a ton of aquariums in your house.
It's
so
true.
We keep them in racking systems, and we use plastic drawers that are heated from the bottom, and the drawers...
But what kind of life is that? See, all my pets have like a bedroom area. They have really schwank. Like my rats have a 3-story condominium.
But those rats don't need that either.
No, but they, I want them
Right.
to, I want
Now,
other
you have
rats
look
to
at it from
know.
the perspective of the snake and not a human, is that
I always look at it from a human perspective. I'm not giving this guy my master bathroom.
and so those appropriately sized Sterilite or Rubbermaid drawers,
Yeah.
it's recreating what they would be doing naturally, which is to kind of carve out a small little spot and lay beneath something for
And just
shelter.
sit and
And
wait.
so you're just consolidating all that together. But you're able to control the temperature, the humidity a lot more easily. Because they're opaque, it gives them a sense of security more so than a glass aquarium. And so, when your collection gets to a certain point, that's usually the best.
If somebody were picking this for their family pet or companion, very active, I think would be my biggest observation. What else? Who does this really fit? He's not the kind of guy you can just drape around your shoulder and he's not going to go anywhere. He seems...
No, he's going to move around. Anybody who is looking for an animal that they're never going to have a problem with feeding, looking for something that's not the mainstream ball python.
It looks like a
Was
wild
that what I
snake.
am to you? Just a mainstream bald python.
Yes.
Thereabouts. I mean, this looks like a snake that
Listen,
you would.
can we
flip
do a V-roll
rock
on
over.
Dexter? My snake is breathtaking.
It is breathtaking.
Nobody's afraid of
But
Dexter.
It's man-made for the most part.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
from a hobby perspective, a lot of people that want to keep stuff like this is looking for a snake that looks like it's from the wild. It looks like
Can we get a
something that
close-up
you
real quick?
could flip
I'm
a
not
rock
kidding
over
you.
and see.
That's how nervous I get. And there's something about him. I don't know why he creeps me out. He is tough for me to get over.
He moves quicker.
That and the colors, or what is it? You think?
The scales. So these, unlike our last two, the sand boa, he's got ridged scales. Keeled scales is what they're called. So if you run your hand on him, it's really rough feeling, and
Oh, do
that
I have
will,
to seriously?
Yeah.
that helps them propel through the undergrowth. It helps them climb trees.
I don't like this.
These
I
guys
don't
are
like
There's
highly
no reason why it
arboreal.
would bite you and not me.
Yeah, he's not going to bite you. They're actually one of the much more docile snakes that you can get.
Hi.
I would hand this off to my 9-year-old daughter before I would hand off our ball python.
But that's always something to consider.
You will.
They will grow up.
Yeah.
You'll grow up with them. That makes it somewhat better. But yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this. Somebody, please.
You're okay.
No, I'm not.
What's he
Yeah.
doing? Oh, he's just licking you.
Well, you
Yeah,
might not
he's
be, but
tasting.
The snake is okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The snake
Snake's fine.
He does feel nice.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
would say it's
Great
like a pair of
snakes.
boots.
He feels like a pair of boots.
So
Mama, my feet are
biggest-
sweating.
Yeah.
This is like Urban
biggest kind
Cowboy.
of great area for the hobby.
Can you get a
people.
close up of the face though? I think he has an
Looks like a
intimidating
rare
face.
bird, you know?
And then the black tongue is kind of evil, isn't it?
Well, it's just black.
Hi.
You know, your hair's black.
Okay, I'm getting used to you. You just
not
look
evil.
different than my Dexter. He looks like he would like,
Yeah,
I'm Snake from Citibank.
You should you should see them when they hiss and they gape their mouth. It's really impressive.
All right, I'm getting used to this, guys. Hey, cool. All right, lifespan.
These guys, like the rest of the colubrids, 20 plus. You know, they typically don't live that long in the wild because something eventually at some point gets them. But I have found multiple, 8-foot snakes in the wild.
Look, we match.
And they're just...
Get him back.
Come on now.
Sorry, cut that.
What was that? No, save that. No. I don't know what that was.
All right, slipped into a Dan Mandis impersonation. I don't know where that high voice came. But all right, we're getting slowly bigger. Now, he's the one that because we transport them in, and it works great. Pillow sheet.
Pillowcase. Any large snake.
He's constantly moving. So, like, this pillowcase is rubbing me, and... Sorry, I'm getting over my fear.
Yeah.
Do we get bigger than him?
Sure. You ready?
I'm ready to see Dexter when he grows up.
He's
Oh,
giving
he
me
really is
kisses.
cute. You know what?
He's
I'm
a
not
good
afraid
boy.
of him anymore.
You shouldn't be.
When the sudden movement.
They're a really docile snake. They're a really smart snake.
How would he do if he accidentally got loose right now?
He would live the rest of his life right here.
Really?
Yeah. He'd have no problem. There's no local snakes that he would breed with. He would just live his life here.
And he would do okay with the climate.
He'd just become a fat monastic snake,
He would
right?
be fine. They hibernate. They're from New Jersey. He would do fine.
He'd have an accent.
Yep, he'd
'cause
have
he's from
no
Jersey.
problem.
All right. You can't find this at Jersey Mike's, can you? This is the northern pine snake. And I was so afraid of you, and now I'm not anymore. Hi. Say goodbye. I got to go see what Dexter's going to look like when he's big. It's not going to be pretty. Say, I'm Pretty Girl, and I'll be on the Jungle Room. Say Macaw's on the... She won't do it. Macaw's on the Jungle Room. Next. There, I did it. Greetings, moms and dads, boys and girls, fans of the Jungle Room. We sure appreciate you watching today. Don't forget, look down right now on YouTube. You can hit subscribe. Do it. The more that subscribe and the more that you share and we grow, the longer we will be. Thanks for watching. And now, back to the Jungle Room.
There we go.
Wow.
So this is Bella.
And that's a female.
That's a female. And so what I was saying earlier about the good news about Dexter is the males tend to stay smaller than the females. So he may not get this big, but this is not the largest ball python I've ever seen either.
Now mine is pied, where this is just...
This is just your normal, this is what you would find in the wild.
They are from Africa.
Africa, pythons?
Yeah. Also referred to as the royal python. Ball python name comes from the way that they tend to ball themselves up, put their head in the middle for defense. And average adult size on one of these are going to be 3.5 towards 4 feet or so.
Right.
I know I'm biased, but I think they're the most popular, and most popular for a reason, right?
Yeah.
For care, for personality. Dexter couldn't have been a better snake for me. He's been so gentle and loving, and
personality, yes, they're a docile snake. Care, not so much.
well, finicky eaters.
They can be.
Yeah.
It's because they're shy.
Yeah.
They're shy. They're nocturnal.
They're not a great handling snake.
No.
Believe it or not.
But see, Dexter's always on us.
He's tolerating that.
Right.
Oh, really? He
Does
doesn't
he
like...
prefer it? Probably not.
Really?
Because he's nocturnal. He typically is going to sleep during the day.
Yeah.
And because he is doing it and not giving you any type of negative reaction, as you can tell, doesn't necessarily mean
That he likes
That
it.
he's happy
Yeah.
with it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So would Dexter prefer to just be left alone?
I think most all snakes.
Oh,
Would
really?
prefer to just be left alone.
Seriously, that
They-
seems so
yeah.
lonely.
Yeah.
But they will.
They're-
They'll just stay in their little...
They're a solitary creature. They don't hang out in groups for
You're
the
a
most part. most
solitary
snakes.
man. Well, actually,
In
you're a
nature-
solitary woman.
They are normally found in abandoned rodent burrows or above ground termite mounds. And so they like it dark and warm and very humid. Muggy. So you have to recreate that in
Well,
captivity.
she's in the right place today.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
we didn't do this with the other snakes, but I do want to warn people. This is something as a snake owner that was a bit of a surprise. When your snake pee-pees or poo-poos on you, you got to know this.
That's why I don't keep a lot of snakes anymore. In fact, zero. No, I'll take that back. One is because nothing's worse than coming home from work
And they've left you one.
and you walk in the front door and somebody did.
Yeah, and it smells like something, you found a dead body. It's just, it's absolutely awful. That must have something scientifically to do with the way the digestive system works.
Moms and dads out there at the moment.
No, well, look, you need, this is, look,
it's
all joking aside,
you need to know.
this is the stuff I don't want people to come home and then that happens, we got to get rid of it. That's how we end up with these big adoptions.
If you were to start, I was just going to say, if you were to start a reptile rescue, you'd end up with a bunch of male, normal ball pythons and a bunch of iguanas that nobody wanted.
Iguanas, always special.
So it's very important if you're going to be getting a snake for your family, for your kids, do all the research you possibly can and know about a species before your kid just wants a ball python because his friend's got one. There are a lot of other snakes out there. There are a lot of different types of snakes, sizes. You know, the other snake's going to get longer. The pine snake will get longer than this guy, but won't get fatter.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when he grips you, or she grips you, you can really... I'm noticing that with Dexter right now. When Dexter grabs me...
Very strong. Yeah, you're going to hold her.
Baby.
Corn
Let her
snakes,
grip me.
milk snakes.
Oh, you mentioned it.
There's a whole lot.
Oh, I don't like this.
Oh, this is the best part.
No, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Sweetie.
Grab his thumb right now.
His
Sweetie.
name's Bella.
Bella. Oh, Bella, don't move. This is a good time to go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, sweet
What
angel.
if she might
You doing?
give you a...
What's her eyesight
experiment
like? Now,
donation.
she doesn't flick her tongue very much.
No, she does. She just got woke up.
She's got very big nostrils.
So
Is that where
she's used to be...
I didn't notice
those
nostrils on the other
So
one.
those are not nostrils. She does have 2 nostrils on the top. But those are heat pits.
Oh, heat
going
pits.
down the side.
Yeah.
So they can temperature sense stuff.
She painted more of a thermal image.
Oh, she's a thermal imager.
Yes.
And I'm hot
If-
right now. I'm by the way, a big, tasty looking ball of red.
If I try to give her a frozen thawed mouse that is not
Thought enough.
been sitting in
She won't strike it.
steaming hot water, she won't touch it.
Then there with Dexter.
Well, I'll put my hand behind it,
no.
and she comes after the
No,
hand, but you just got to make
please.
sure she gets the mouse.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this. Somebody help.
No, it's okay. It's not going to hurt you.
You say that?
No.
Oh, there you go. See, Mike bails me out. He knows. I lose my man.
Well,
Here, I'll just hold the bottom part.
Just trying to.
The face creeps me out.
Hey,
All
I'll
right, look,
take
you
that
gotta,
over the-
by the
the
way,
end
you ought to
any day.
feel the muscles in this. This is like a ripped
It's just pure
rock.
muscle.
Pure muscle.
look here.
Show off. Lifespans?
Same 20 plus years.
All right, so get this for your daughters. They go to college. Mom and dad, they're yours. So
It's true.
keep that in mind. Snakes in general. I think it's a little bit more, not like the tarantula, but more of people are collecting them. But yet a lot of people have just one, and it's a
Yeah.
family member, one they're very close to for a long time. It can make, how about the people it can make sense for that travel a lot? Because you could feed it.
You feed them once a week. You keep a water bowl in there. You're good to go.
Spot clean and clean as necessary.
I had a ball python that went off feed for 9 months one time. I just refused everything, live, frozen, thawed, didn't matter, and then just started feeding again. So they can go if you're going out of town for 2 weeks. Feed them before you go.
He's chill.
By the time you get back, whatever dump they took is
Oh, it's
gonna
waiting
be-
for you.
It's gonna be kind of dried up by then. so-
Common problems that people have from a veterinary standpoint. We had one with Dexter.
Feeding problems.
That's the most
yeah.
common.
Yeah, either they not wanting to feed when you want them to, and that's typically because of the way they're being cared for.
Right.
But they're notoriously known for being picky. But it's not necessarily that they're picky as much as something's out of sorts with their either temperature or the humidity.
They play a huge role.
Right. And so that's the primary reason. Also, the humidity demands that they have. That leads to a lot of
Shedding issues too.
veterinary
Yeah, 'cause you could
issues,
affect
skin quality, things like that.
Yeah.
You had, with Dexter, it was eating so well that when it went to the bathroom, it prolapsed a little bit. And that's a whole other episode.
Prolapse is like a snake hemorrhoid.
kind of, sort of.
And the great colon whisperer repaired Dexter.
That was a little bit.
A little sugar water, a little massage,
Yeah.
and
A little
we
bit of
got
prayer.
a little prayer, and we got it back inside. Let's close with this, because by the way, just like everything else, we're going to come back to these species and do far more in depth. The show's just getting started, and we're just rolling with introductions. But in general, biggest negative misconceptions about snakes?
That they're
Satan.
seek you out to bite you.
Yeah.
For the most part, they just want to be left alone. They're doing their thing and want us to do ours.
Can they be as happy in captivity as they are in the wild?
There's less stress. They're going to learn pretty quickly that not everything's out to kill them. If you were to come across one of these animals in the wild, it would be very different than it is right now.
Right.
It would, if you were trying to pick it up, it would be coming after you. So obviously they're relaxed and chilled out right now. They know that us pulling them out and holding them we're not going to do them any harm. So they're in a more relaxed state, and the more constant their environment can stay at the perfect level for them, the longer they're going to live and the happier they're going to be.
And a true testament with their happiness and success in captivity is the fact that they're so prolific. If you provided an animal with proper care and nutrition and a stress-free life, what's left to do? Breed. And so there's no shortage of ball pythons for sure in the pet trade.
Right.
And the color options?
Right. It's in the thousands.
Yeah.
And the hobby is introducing new color variations and genetic profiles.
Do you have a favorite snake?
Yes. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, things like that. The more
Chris?
arboreal stuff.
Mostly colubrids, the pine snakes, the bull snakes, kind of run up my favorite alley.
My favorite species is the Dexter. That's the
Dexter, just the
the
one.
scientific name is Dexter, my boy,
Nice.
who's not big yet.
It's my boy eye.
Spiders and snakes. Well, I made it. I'm sweaty for it, but at least I made it.
And
You made it.
we're getting there. Wait until we do a giant snakes episode.
Well, we do have one friend that's going to be bringing us one. Are you ready? Give him the how many feet?
Oh, as far as large snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About a 16
We
footer.
haven't scheduled it yet, but yes, Chris and I have a friend that collects larger species of snakes, Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons.
And that happens to be the
anacondas.
week I'm
It's got a
off.
huge olive python.
That's a boat.
Yeah.
A 16-footer is a boat. It's
Yeah.
a fishing boat.
Yeah.
Spiders and snakes on the Jungle Room. We're going to fill you in with a lot more detail down the road. Next week is my week. We get to do my favorite bird, the macaw.
Yeah.
And then your favorite, in fact, your boy, a
Right.
tortoise.
Sulcata tortoise.
Sulcata.
A sulcata.
Yeah, Geo
Come on.
A wedding.
sulcata.
A wedding tortoise. That's all next week on the Jungle Room. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Jungle Room. Share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share anywhere that they'll allow you to share. Call a friend, shake a neighbor. Let's grow this show. Let's grow the understanding. Let's find the right one for your family. And smarter, better owners mean happy critters. We'll see you next time on the Jungle Room.